Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. We need to talk when it comes to the Indoor Football League streaming partners and everything that's gone on from the past, and I mean the past, to where we are now with the announcement of overnight and the paywall that we will have to go through when that was just announced the other day. Well, yesterday as of my recording, but you know what I mean. So let's dive into it. We need to go all the way back a couple of years to how we got to this point, and then kind of venture up how we got to overnight. And, well, not overnight, but the overnight, the company. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard to differentiate with that. But let's go dive in. All right, so I'm going to be painting with a broad brush at some points, so people in the comments can add to it. By no means am I 100% the bastion of all of the information based on everything that we have here, but we do have to venture back a couple of years in the Indoor Football League and figure out where we're at within the realm of streaming capabilities and things along those lines. So up until roughly 2017, when the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles came in to the Indoor Football League, it was very much a wash of where you can watch the games. There were some pay-per-views. Some people might have had games on YouTube. There was stuff behind paywalls all the way back before 2017. When the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles came in with Project Franchise and then eventually took over the Colorado Crush, Knee Ice, before changing their name, the Screaming Eagles got a contract with, or maybe not a contract, but they started putting their games on Twitch and on YouTube, and that's where the Indoor Football League started taking off, when they started putting their games onto YouTube. Now, again, broad brush here, way more intricacies when it comes to that stuff. There's a whole ordeal where the Twitch streams for Colorado and Salt Lake got in some hot water because they were supposed to be on YouTube and they weren't, something along those lines. It's way far back in the day, but there's this whole ordeal where Twitch stream got into kind of some hot water, and the league and the teams were Salt Lake and Colorado were butting heads when it came to where they could put their games and stuff like that. I know Sports Illustrated was kind of simulcasting it too, so this is where it kind of starts. So with that, we venture further and further down the YouTube rabbit hole, where games are free on YouTube, but you are seeing DMCA strikes, or DCMA strikes, excuse me, and you are starting to see some broadcast issues. And as the Indoor Football League said just a couple of years ago at the launch of the Indoor Football League Network, that was kind of the reason for getting games off of YouTube. They were tired of copyright strikes. They were tired of when broadcasts went down, they couldn't take over control. They had to pretty much cut the feed, start a whole brand new live feed, and then have everyone migrate over to that. So it's been a process over the last couple of years for the Indoor Football League to get to where they are. And I think if you gave them the opportunity to put their games on YouTube for free for everyone to watch, they would do it under one condition. They made money while doing it. And that's the other reason, one of the main reasons why they took their games off of YouTube. They were making money through some ads and stuff like that, mid-roll ads, what have you. But for all intents and purposes, they was not making money. Not to the money that they're making now. And so taking their games off of YouTube, the Indoor Football League made, at the time, I was one of these people, at that time, a lot of people thought a very boneheaded decision. And that boneheaded decision was, you're taking eyeballs away from your product that people can watch for free and putting it behind a paywall on this newly launched Indoor Football League Network. Now, what we also have to put into consideration here with the Indoor Football League Network is this. It was not smooth sailing, all things considered. It wasn't a botched launch, but it was really too close for comfort, just like these announcements that the Indoor Football League has put out. Not Yahoo, but with overnight. We'll touch on all of this stuff here in a second. But it was too close for comfort. You had to pay $30, and then it was brought to the attention you had to pay an extra $10. And myself and a whole bunch of people were pissed off. And you have to put that in context as well. From 2017, roughly, to 2024, these games were on YouTube. Not exclusively, as there were some simulcasts and things like that with Stadium, which you would have Game of the Week on Stadium. You would have game simulcast on Caffeine TV, rip in peace. And you would also have games, I think there was another streamer that they tried to get too, but you started seeing these games on the Indoor Football League Network pop up on Victory Plus, like a game a week or something like that for free. That's never been brought up, and I'm amazed it hasn't. I think there was another streamer that had a game or two for free as well. I can't remember the name of it, but you wonder why that was never brought up. That's a complete side note, by the way, but what you saw with Stadium and what you saw from Caffeine is kind of like these trial runs. Stadium did the playoff series a couple years ago, and it was atrocious. Man, it was bad. And part of that pretty much made the Indoor Football League take it over and said, we are going to do this on ours. Like, you will broadcast it, we'll have all the stadium graphics and stuff like that, but for the most part, we are taking control of this, because what you've done, it's, I'm going to say harmed our product, but it did not make our product look good. So this is where the Indoor Football League saying, we can't deal with Stadium, we can't deal with Caffeine TV. Caffeine shut down partway through, or maybe the year after, I can't remember the full detail, and Stadium was an over-the-air channel that eventually got turned into something else. Like, it's no longer Stadium anymore. If not, the channel completely shut down as well. I think it morphed into a different channel. But regardless, again, painting with a broad brush here, trying to just give you kind of the scope, not go into details of March 16th of blah, blah, blah. No. Like, Stadium, for all intents and purposes, does not exist. Caffeine does not exist. And the Indoor Football League put their stuff behind a paywall. So this is where we're going to leave it for right now, because now we are going to start kind of clocking some dates and clocking some times and stuff like that to get from the Indoor Football League, well, the Indoor Football League Network, to where we're at. So we're going to start it off with FanDuel. Okay, so from 2025, you had the Indoor Football League Network, and you had CBS Sports, and that was pretty much it. You had games on CBS Sports for the championship, and that was pretty much the exclusivity. You had to get a cable package, or the 30-day trial or 7-day trial on whatever you wanted on Hulu Plus or whatever the case could be, in order just to watch that championship game. And you still had to do it even last year. You don't have to do it this year. Excuse me. For the Indoor Football League Network, it was pretty much a litmus test on how to sell sponsors. It was also a way to get away from YouTube and put everything behind a paywall. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people were not happy, including myself. And when you put it into the scope of that perspective of getting everything for free up until that point, it still sucked. Now, the opinion for me has personally changed when you realize just how much is behind paywalls now. I don't think the Indoor Football League wants to pride themselves on being something like that, but when you consider that, D2 Athletics are on Flow Sports, they have their own network. I watch my alma mater on the MIAA network for football and basketball and stuff like that. You have NASCAR, or not NASCAR, but like dirt racing and stuff like that, maybe NASCAR sanctioned events on Flow Sports. You have all of these other subscription bases, and that's not even counting the big conglomerates like ESPN, Peacock, Paramount Plus, what have you. So almost everything is a subscription. Almost everything is behind a paywall. And as I mentioned even last year, and I'll still agree to it like this, that sucks. Because some people don't have that money every single month to come up with, and that does kind of hurt your fan base. Now, with that, everything that we were told prior to overnight was supposed to be free. November 20th of 2025, the Indoor Football League Network inks a deal with FanDuel. And you've got the press release right here. The Indoor Football League the Indoor Football League today announced a broadcast partnership with FanDuel Sports Network, bringing America's longest-running indoor football league to millions of households across the country. Beginning in 2026, FanDuel Sports Network will deliver 60 live IFL matchups across its family of networks, as well as the FanDuel Sports Network app. Yeah, except we won't. We know why. You read down there as well, as part of the deal, FanDuel Sports Network will become the official home of Sunday Night Indoor Football, a new primetime showcase airing every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Each week, fans can expect fast-paced action, dynamic storytelling, and the electric atmosphere that defines the Indoor Football League. Now, obviously, we know that this isn't going to happen. And the reason why is because the FanDuel Sports Network is not actually FanDuel. FanDuel Sports Network is pretty much a name, in name only, with Main Street Media Group or Main Street Media Company that did a lot of RSNs throughout the nation, that carried a lot of MLB, NBA, and NHL teams throughout their 82 or 162 game seasons, and it's going kaput. And obviously cord cutting is part of that, streaming is part of that, and FanDuel Sports Network is going to shut down April of 2026, which is right at the very beginning of the Indoor Football League season. So we knew that the Indoor Football League, if there was a Hail Mary, which again, reports were maybe DAZN or DAZN, however it's pronounced, I pronounce it DAZN, if they would have thrown a Hail Mary and potentially bought them out, because that was the rumor at the time, no one ended up buying it out. Then they're going to shut down. Now, side note to that, pretty much all the MLB teams, since that's the start of their season too, are on like MLB Network or like MLB.TV and stuff like that. I think the NBA and the NHL are going to like finish out the season with that, and then the playoffs are all on TNT and ESPN and ABC. So they are able to work it out. Baseball and to a lesser extent indoor football really affected with it. So we knew that the Indoor Football League had to get out from under this. And this is the reason why Overnight comes into this, is because there was a lot of litigation. I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Only the people that are in the front office of the Indoor Football League and FanDuel and everything like that. It's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that these people had to deal with. And to make the settlement as close to the start of the Indoor Football League season sucks, but you knew that in order to have this be somewhat of an amicable break, you needed something that both sides could be happy with. I don't know if there was a full-blown settlement. I don't care. What I care about is the fact that there shouldn't be, at least in my opinion, there shouldn't be any sort of, I'm suing you for this, you're suing me for this. I think both sides were able to work it out. So, you need a new streaming partner. We will talk about them, not this segment, but in the next segment, because FanDuel wasn't the only streamer to latch on. We need to talk about Yahoo and what they did after FanDuel backed out. All right, so on December 9th, Yahoo Sports tweeted their deal with the Indoor Football League. I think around that time, everyone was tweeting about it, from the Indoor Football League to Yahoo to myself to anyone and everyone. So from November 20th to December 9th, you went from FanDuel to Yahoo. You have everything here in place. Half the season on one, half the season on the other. Until it's not. So I'm not going to get into the full-blown thing. You know, we're eventually slowly learning all of the broadcasters, and that Yahoo is taking a huge step and a huge notice of the Indoor Football League. Everything I just mentioned with FanDuel is out. Yahoo steps up. So, press release here. Yahoo Sports and the Indoor Football League today announced another expansion of their partnership to bring live football, yada, yada, blah, from 64 games when they originally had 59. So, they've pretty much taken everything that they had and upped it up just a little bit, including the Indoor Football League National Championship game for this year, the American Dream IFL Cup from the 18th to the 24th, 2 first-round playoff games, and the Western Conference Championship. So, pretty much what Yahoo has had, they're just giving a couple more games. However, this is where it's going to get a little weird. I'll finish out this press release really quick. All broadcasts will be produced by the IFL and distributed wherever Yahoo Sports Network is available, including major FAST platforms such as Amazon Fire, Fubo, Roku. You can read all of those. I'm not going to go through all of that. But we've seen the broadcasters, we've seen the analysts, we've seen all of that stuff. You can read more about that, as that kind of gives a little bit of shine to some of those guys. But what I want to talk about here too is the schedule. We finally have the broadcast schedule for Yahoo, and from what I have gathered, they have pretty much taken FanDuel's Sunday night slates and have put them over to Yahoo to be Sunday night football. So it's not always going to be the case. As for instance, as you see right here, Quad City and Fishers are going to kick off the season on Yahoo Sports. And then you see their Saturday, March 21st, Fishers at Green Bay. That's also on a Saturday. But then you see that Sunday game, Orlando at New Mexico. That is at Yahoo as well. So what you're starting to see, and I'll have a link to this in the comments and everything, or in the description and stuff like that, if you want to go see the Yahoo broadcast schedule. But what we have here is a broadcast schedule. And I think if I was, looking at it and putting it and cross-referencing it with my Excel sheet, I think they take, if not like most, if not all the Sunday games. So I think Yahoo's pretty much going to have all of the Sunday games that FanDuel is supposed to have, and Overnight's going to end up taking the rest of the brunt of that. We'll talk about Overnight here in a second, but this is where Yahoo is stepping up as well. I do want to go and show this picture too from AF Dave. They are promoting, and that's an issue that I had taken on previous episodes of Around the Indoor Football World on Shady Sports. I have been a huge proponent of promoting your product. I want this league to succeed, and I think if you can get more eyeballs and have your affiliates promote your stuff, that is good. Because up until this point, I had only seen 4 tweets from Yahoo Sports about the Indoor Football League. It was the initial announcement that they were on Yahoo Sports, and then the other 3 tweets I saw at that time were about Terrell Owens and the Allen Wranglers. That's how long ago Yahoo Sports had tweeted about the Indoor Football League. So I will put foot in mouth, and I will admit when I am wrong. The fact that they are now promoting this on their streams, that is a huge benefit to the Indoor Football League. If anyone is watching any of the Yahoo content or Yahoo Sports content or anything like that, that is huge. So Yahoo has picked up a huge amount of credit, in my opinion. I like what they have done. I do. My opinion has changed on all of that. I'm suffice to say, kudos and mad respect to Yahoo for picking up what at one point was a huge, almost disaster, and they said, hey, we got you. I got to give mad props where that is, man. And I know I sounded like complete 1998 when I said mad props, but I do. I have to give props where it's due. That is a huge thing for the Indoor Football League, and a huge thing to have this partnership with them in order to expand even more games, because it wasn't even just the original 59. They've kind of completely shaken up their schedule a little bit, and like I said, I'll have a link below in the description where you can see that Yahoo article on where each game is going to be on Yahoo. So they have taken over. Now you need to figure out your second streamer. That's Overnight. You need to go talk about them. All right, so with Overnight, they have announced, and you'll see the press releases and stuff above my head if you haven't been paying attention, I guess. Overnight in the Indoor Football League announced a multi-year, multi-million-dollar media rights agreement. And the first headline or sub-headline of this, Overnight becomes exclusive home of a minimum of 55 IFL games annually through 2028, including exclusive rights to the 27 and 28 national championships. So there's going to be a lot of games on Overnight. Get used to it. Unfortunately, you got to get used to it. Now, into the article. The agreement represents the largest media rights deal in the sports history, and solidifies a long-term strategic partnership between the two organizations. As part of the agreement, Overnight will become the exclusive home of at least 55 live IFL games annually, including marquee regular season matchups and postseason contests, substantially expanding the league's national distribution footprint. The premium package includes the Hall of Fame game opening weekend, so what we're going to watch in a couple of days between Vegas and Green Bay. And I think that's going to be a thing. The Hall of Fame game opening weekend is going to be an annual thing. 2 American Dream IFL Cup games, whether that's the consolation game or the opening weekend games, or the opening games, I'm not sure. 2 first-round playoff matchups, so they take the other half of what Yahoo already has. 1 conference championship, that'll be the Eastern Conference Championship. Exclusive home of IFL Friday Night Football and IFL Monday Night Football. Now, as we've done each team's preview, there's not a lot of Monday nights. But there are some Fridays. And we'll see how that goes, because when Yahoo was originally scheduled, it was supposed to be Sunday Night Football for FanDuel, and then select Friday and Saturday games for Yahoo. Like I said, Yahoo's kind of taking the brunt of all the Sunday games. Now the Friday and Saturday nights kind of fall onto Overnight, including the final one here, 7 IFL After Dark matchups. So taking a page out of the Pac-12 After Dark playbook, 7 IFL After Dark matchups, so you're probably looking at a bunch of Western Conference games or teams involving the Western Conference, Vegas, San Diego, Arizona, you know the rest. So this is a huge thing. And it's like I kind of mentioned in the very beginning, the Indoor Football League, along with a lot of other arena leagues throughout the country, throughout the years, have been trying their damnedest to get paid. And a lot of the things that you see on CBS Sports, a lot of the things you've seen on ESPN Plus, whenever you've seen the Arena Football League, whether you've seen the IFL, whether you've seen AF1 or whoever on these big packages, those leagues are paying. They are paying for that. Now, maybe not so much CBS Sports, because Todd Tryon did say on an episode of Inside the IFL that they were not paying for CBS. So maybe they did get a little bit of a kickback when it came to just airing the championship game, but who knows? I'd like to think that they were paying for it. They might not have been. We don't know. But if what he said is true, then maybe they weren't paying for that championship game. And maybe it was Stadium. I can't honestly remember. It's been a couple of years, and obviously I've done a bunch of stuff indoor football related since then. But I remember him saying that, hey, we're not paying for this. So I think it might have been either part of the Stadium deal or CBS Sports. We'll see. But you're getting paid. Multi-year, multi-million-dollar, which means it's more than one. It's $2+ million for this media rights agreement. Now, what this entails, it will be behind a paywall. And it is going to be, and I'll put the image up right here, it is going to be $12 a month. And that is more than what we paid last season for the Indoor Football League Network. And it's $12 a month. You can cancel it right after the season ends. Some people might forget, and that's okay. But $12 a month for March, April, May, June, July, August. That's what, 6 months, 5 months? You're paying about $60+, give or take. Somewhere $60 to $72. And then there's a code. I don't have it right here, but there's a code that you can go to overnight, and I think it might be in the press release, that you can get 40% off. And that can really benefit you as well. Now, if you don't want to pay for this, I understand. Trust me, I'm beating that drum too. I wish everything was free. We were told that everything was going to be free to watch at one point in time, but FanDuel fell through. And unfortunately, if you wanted something like this, you got to pay for it. I don't like it. Like I've said, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that you couldn't find someone that could do it for free. But I also understand from this method too. I think the Indoor Football League chose overnight because if you put this on a streamer like ESPN, Paramount, Peacock, whoever, one, you probably have to pay. I don't know how much they would be paying you. You might have to pay. Two, and this is going to sound sleazy, do not get me wrong, most people already have those apps, and while that is convenient, putting things on overnight can give you a little bit more kickback towards overnight, recouping their costs and stuff, paying $12 a month instead of already having the apps that you already have. Now, that is speculation, pure, full-blown speculation on my part. I could be 100% wrong. I'm glad to be 100% wrong. But you don't give a team, or excuse me, you don't give a league multi-million dollars without wanting to get some money back, whether it's through sponsorships or signups or whatever the case could be. You want that money back, just like the Indoor Football League wanted money when they built their network. Excuse me. And they put it behind a paywall. So you got to make money somehow. And like I said, excuse me, my goodness, I think it is pure speculation, and that's fine, because I don't think they're doing this out of the, we're going to get them for all their money. But would you rather be the big fish in a small pond like overnight where no one might know it, but they know your league? Or would you rather be on ESPN Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, or whatever, where you're next to D1 NEC basketball tournament, or D1 Missouri Valley softball, or Mountain West kickball? You know, I don't know. I know I'm being facetious here a little bit, but would you rather have that knowing that your stuff's going to get lost in the wash? Or would you rather have overnight promoting your product as they are right here? It's one of the first things that you see when you get onto the website. They're promoting it. It's a multi-year deal. They're going to promote the hell out of it because they know that they've got money invested into this. Meanwhile, a website or a company like ESPN probably wouldn't care too much. Paramount Plus might not care too much. There's a reason why the game was on CBS Sports Network for the championship and not CBS. So I don't personally like it, because obviously you want to go to those big names where you already have that subscription. However, I do think that this is potentially a step in the right direction. You can build numbers, you can build names, and it's no different than going from one paywall in the Indoor Football League Network to one paywall with Overnight. I wish everything was on the Indoor Football League Network. I wish there was a way that you could simulcast it and put the Indoor Football League Network back behind a paywall so you have everything in one place. And if you want to go to Overnight, then your card is still good or your money's still good over there, or you can watch it on Overnight if you don't have access to that, or whatever the case could be. The games are free for Yahoo. Still put stuff behind the paywall on the Indoor Football League Network. I would gladly pay for that so I know everything's in one spot. Everyone is tired of having to go to different things. I get that. I know the Indoor Football League in a perfect world does not want to do this. I'm not trying to beat the drum. I'm not trying to sit there and be like, look, the Indoor Football League is doing everything right. I am critical of the Indoor Football League at any chance I can get. Do not get me wrong. But this is something that's putting them in the right direction. And while I don't personally like it, especially since you have to pay a couple more dollars than what you kind of had to pay last season, including the playoff package, which was $40, including, $30 for the regular season, $10 for the playoff package. This is roughly $60 to $70. So it's almost double, give or take, and you get half the games. It sucks. However, for it to work, we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure if it'll work. There's people that won't spend their money, and that's perfectly fine. I get that. I'm not going to be a rah-rah, you have to pay it or you don't get to watch. I know, Kathy for Green Bay said that last year, and I completely ripped her for that, and I still will if something like that happens. But if you don't want to tune in, if this is not worth your money, that's okay. Because they're still going to show these games at the end of the day. They've already made the agreement. They're not going to take these games off. No amount of bitching that I do, that you do, that anything does. Unfortunately, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. The one thing I will say that is I just do not want the Indoor Football League to get into the same vein as the NFL, where there's Prime, NBC, ABC, ESPN, Fox, CBS, NFL Network, anything and everything, all 7 or 8 different things just to watch games. I don't want them to tread down that path. Right here, don't like it, but keep it as it is. I don't like it, but for all intents and purposes, this is where we're at. There's no going back. So I'm not saying, nut up and deal with it. What I'm saying is, let's try and enjoy it together. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, there's gonna be a lot of criticism. We'll see how the broadcasts and everything go, because of what they're touting. They tried to tout it with the Indoor Football League Network, and some of those broadcasts were still kind of unbearable and unwatchable. Some of those broadcasts did cut out partway through, and you had to only watch half a game whenever you went back to watch it on demand or whatever. So hopefully they can work all of that stuff out. Hopefully they've been doing a lot of that behind the scenes. But one thing I want to do before we get out of here, I want to show this graphic for what the Indoor Football League put out and show everyone what everything is for. All right, so the Indoor Football League just put this out, and it's a how to watch in 2026, and hopefully this can, it's not going to stop everyone, but hopefully it can stop some people from talking about, hey, where's this game at? What can we watch? For Yahoo, how to watch. You can stream live or watch live on Amazon Fire, Fubo, LG channels on your smart TV, Plex, Prime Video, Samsung TV Plus, or the Roku channel. You can stream online at yahoosports.tv. For Overnight, you can watch live on iOS, Android, and Apple TV. You can stream online at overnight.com. That's overnight without the I. overnght.com. Well, trust me, a lot of people will misspell that as well. But one thing to talk about here as well before we get out of here, Yahoo is free. You can watch all of those games on all of those different, streaming services, channels, whatever you want to call them. You can stream it on yahoosports.tv. All of that is free. Every single one of those games. Like I said, link in the description below from that Yahoo article that shows you where each game or what each game is that's going to be on Yahoo. Assumingly, if it's not on Yahoo, it's going to be on Overnight. So anything that does not have that little cell phone icon or anything in that press release is going to be on Overnight. And you can watch those live, iOS, Android, Apple TV, Overnight without the I, overnght.com. That is $12 a month. So anyone that wants to watch that, you will pay $12 a month. You can pick your favorite month or favorite months. I'm sure you can cancel at any time, because if it's telling you per month, I haven't signed up for it yet. You can correct me in the comments, but if you can take it month by month, like I said, it's probably going to be 5 months, 6 months. You're probably looking at $60 to $72, which if you are willing to put up with that, if you have that money to spend, go for it. So that's where we have it when it comes to the Indoor Football League, what they're doing now, a little bit of a snapshot of how we got to this point, what has happened in the past, and how the Indoor Football League has worked their way to actually getting paid for their streaming rights, for their games, for all of their broadcasts, that they are actually getting paid. They do not have to pay anymore. And that has been the biggest thing about the Indoor Football League so far, has been the ability to work their business just to the ability to make money. And that's what they're doing now. So big things happening for the Indoor Football League. And you will catch it on both of these throughout the 2026 season. So let's wrap up. Let's get out of here. And that is it for our little chat, our little rant when it comes to our streamers. Does it suck that you have to put stuff behind a paywall? Absolutely. And I forgot to mention this too, but if you can catch it at the very end, these games will all be archived on the Indoor Football League Network. If you have an account, this is what I've been told, if you have an account with the Indoor Football League Network, it's a free account. You can watch it 24 hours after the game airs. If you do not, then you can watch it a week after the game airs. So what that means is any of these games on Yahoo or Overnight, if you are not willing to spend that money, maybe not Overnight, but probably Yahoo, it will be on the Indoor Football League Network. It can take up to a week, depending on if you have an account or not. This is what I've been told. So for me, I don't know if they'll put those games on Overnight or from Overnight over there just yet, since it's behind a paywall. You might have to go to Overnight and see those games. If they do that, maybe you just have to wait a couple of days and those games from Overnight are free. I don't think they would be. It kind of defeats the purpose. However, if they are, more power to you. You might have to wait a week or two. I'm not sure. But there's going to be more clarity coming, I'm sure, because I know that in the next coming day or two, they will have an Inside the IFL with Todd Tryon as they premiere that stuff. I heard that got pushed back because of the Overnight deal, things like that. So that's where we have it, guys. There's a lot of information just in the probably 30 to 40 minutes that I talked in this. And I don't have all the answers even myself. I'm trying to relay this information to you guys as much as I can, and I'm trying to make sure that what information I have and the information that I can relay with what I get is able to help. Is able to help as best as it can, because everyone just wants to watch these games at the end of the day. Everyone wants to support the league the best way that they can, and I'm trying to be someone that helps do that. So that's all I've got. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. If you have any, I will try and answer them in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or anything like that. I will try my best to answer it. But that's where we have it, man. Like, we have a couple of days until the season kicks off on Yahoo, and then you have Overnight, and then, like I said, you kind of go through those schedules of where each game is going, and I'll talk about it in each of my previews where the game is going to be broadcast. So shameless plug, make sure you turn into the previews and everything like that so you know where it's going to be. Obviously, check out the Indoor Football League for all of their preview and their contents and stuff, and all of the other great content creators that are reporting on this, reporting on their teams, reporting on the league, everything. You got a whole multitude of people just loving this sport, trying to get content, trying to get information, trying to get all of this stuff out, so that way this league, the teams, the players, the coaches, the owners, the fans are all supported, because this community is one of the best I've ever been a part of. So with that, taking off here, guys, I hope nothing happens in the next couple of days, because I am kind of behind the 8 ball on the week 1 previews, so I need to get my ass in gear with that. But until then, I will catch you in those week 1 previews. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll catch you then. Till then, see ya.